My name is Kayla. My pronouns are she and her, and I study abroad in Seoul, South Korea. I was always like, when I go to college, I want to study abroad. And I guess I drew a lot of influence from that because my brother studied abroad when he was a junior in college, and my brother went to Singapore. And when he went, he looked like he had the best time ever. So I was like, okay, I want to go to Asia too. I wasn't really like focusing on like appearance as much initially when I got there because I feel like that's not something I think about when I'm like in America. I did watch like a lot of YouTube videos of like what it was like being Black in Korea, and I definitely do know like people were talking about, you know, the stares that you might get, or like people asking you questions, or people wanting to touch your hair and stuff like that. So I'm not gonna lie, when I first got there, I kind of had this ignorance is bliss mentality. So I was like, I'm just gonna pretend like I don't see anything and I will be perfectly fine. I think like the first time where I guess I can say it kind of stood out to me more was, it was like maybe my first week actually. And me and some of the people from my program had gone to the mall, and we were just walking around the mall, and this woman stopped us and she was like, hey, can I get a picture with you guys? And I was like, that's interesting because like I'm not like a celebrity, so like why would she want a picture? So that was the first time where I was like, I guess it's because like I'm not seen often, or like what I look like isn't seen often. So that was the first time I guess was brought to attention about like my appearance, where I really was like, okay, like let me think about this a little more, like how I look. I was like, is it the way I'm dressing? Is it that my hair is like in braids and that's like not like a normal thing? And when I had gone out, like my friend, she had her hair in like an afro, and like everyone put their fingers in her hair, and it was really awkward. That's when I think I started thinking about it more. Experiencing being more like self-conscious about my appearance, I think I felt like a combination of things. Like I definitely like was more curious about like why people reacted to things, but like after like investigating about it more, I guess I came to the realization that it wasn't like for the most part out of like malintent. I guess it was just like seeing something like that you don't typically see on a day-to-day basis. I think people are just like more curious about us, but it's just not everyone has the like boldness to like come up and ask. So then I guess they just stare. Like naturally, I'm a person that like sticks up for myself. So there's a way about like correcting someone. So I think like if there's ever an opportunity that you can correct someone, or like even just like teach someone something, I think like that's like a valuable thing to do. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna sit here and say I was the best at it. Like I was still very anxious. Like, you know, like I was going to a concert and I took out my braids and I had my afro out and I was anxious the whole concert. Like, you know, cause that's all I was thinking about. But then I think like also surrounding yourself with people, I guess, that make you feel comfortable, like at least then it's like you can also gain some like reassurance that like it's okay. Because I do think sometimes a lot of it, like even if you are getting like unwanted attention, sometimes it can feel like, you can feel like you're putting the pressure on yourself in a sense, where it's like, you might think like, oh, everyone's staring at you, or like whatever it might be. And it's like, no one's really even paying attention to what you're doing. So I feel like sometimes it's like you're overly self-conscious about it. In terms of like, if I ever got more comfortable, I definitely like bounced around a lot in terms of like my comfortability. And I think like that's okay. Like I think like while you're abroad, like nothing is ever really gonna be like linear. You're definitely gonna fluctuate in your feelings, just like how you do here. So I think that's okay. Overall, in terms of like, even if like you have fears of like how you might be perceived like while abroad, I think like even if you have like a negative experience, like it's such a small portion of like what your whole abroad experience is. Something I love the most and my biggest takeaway was like I learned so much about like myself and about like social interactions with people, and it's something that I'm still like developing like even while being here. And I wouldn't let like things that like you can't change about yourself like be a reason not to go abroad. So like if these are things like you're happy with, like just like reminding yourself, like reaffirming to yourself like that whoever you are, or like your identities are like perfectly like made for you, and like you don't have to change that because you're in a different country, especially for like things within your identity. Like you don't want to like change those things to conform to someone else, because in the end you will like lose yourself. So I think it's important to stay true to yourself and true to like the things that are important to you.